6:30.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. A child is dead after a crash in Cabell County, West Virginia. Officials say it happened in the Cabell Creek area. Our sister station WSAZ reports that West Hamlin Elementary provided a post about the situation. It says, quote, "It is with deep sadness that we inform our school community of the tragic loss of one of our students. Our thoughts and heartfelt condolences go out to the student's family and friends during this difficult time." 2 people were taken to the hospital with burns yesterday after an incident involving a butane tanker truck in Boyd County. The sheriff's office said the incident was reported in the Paul Coffey Industrial Park located off Virginia Boulevard in the Cannonsburg area. One of the victims' injuries is considered severe. A day after he announced additional security measures for schools in the city, Ohio Governor Mike DeWine will again be speaking from Springfield City Hall. DeWine was in Springfield yesterday meeting with local business owners as well as local law enforcement and state officials. During a news conference, Governor DeWine announced additional support for Springfield, which has received at least 33 separate bomb threats in the last week. Families of some of the workers killed when a cargo ship crashed into Baltimore's Francis Scott Bridge in March have announced, Francis Scott Key Bridge rather, announced a lawsuit aimed at preventing the ship's owner from escaping legal liability. 8 construction workers were doing maintenance on the bridge when the cargo ship Dolly lost power and slammed into it, causing the bridge to collapse. 6 workers died.
We ask for justice because no corporation, no amount of lobbying, no legal loophole should ever be able to erase the value of a human life.
The attorney representing the family says they will allow a jury to decide on compensation for the men's deaths. A judge has ordered Sean Diddy Combs to jail on charges of racketeering and sex trafficking. This comes after Combs was indicted this morning. The indictment claims the music mogul hit and abused women for more than a decade and presided over a sordid empire of sexual crimes. Yesterday, Combs was arrested in New York roughly 6 months after federal authorities conducted a sex trafficking investigation, which led to his homes being raided in LA and Miami.
And I expect a long battle with a good result for Mr. Combs.
Do you think he'll be released?
I'm going to fight like hell to get him released, and he should be released with all that he's done.
During a search of Combs' homes in Miami and Los Angeles, law enforcement seized narcotics and more than 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant, according to the indictment. Combs pleaded not guilty today. A Texas man set to be executed next month is appealing his sentence. Robert Robertson was sentenced to death in 2022 for the shaken baby death of his daughter 2 decades ago. The 59-year-old filed a writ of habeas corpus August 1st to stay the execution, which the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals denied last week. Now he has presented a clemency petition to the Texas Board of Pardons and Paroles and Governor Greg Abbott, claiming he was sentenced for a non-existent crime.
Well, as advertised, rain has pushed through eastern Kentucky. Some places seeing a nice amount. Here's the latest with live pinpoint Doppler radar. You can see the rain continuing to push through across over towards the Jackson area, across portions of Estill County, through Jackson County, through portions of Owsley County, through Perry County, back over towards portions of Lee County, Virginia, as well as Wise County, seeing some rain at this time. And you can see right now here in Hazard, we're seeing a little bit of rain. Look off in the background, very close. You can see a little bit of reduced visibility right there in the background, right there. That's pretty cool, as our temperature and our dew point is around the same temperature. And right now we're at 64 in Hazard, low 70s towards Jackson as well as Prestonsburg, low 70 in London, 70 is the current temperature in Somerset. Next 12 hours keeps the chance of rain in the forecast. We'll see temperatures hovering between 72 to 67, not moving much in the temperature department. But when you wake up in the morning, we'll see temperatures, how about upper 50s and low 60s? Now, all eyes are on this weekend. We have the Black Gold Festival coming up. The question is, how does that weather look? I'll have that answer in the First Alert forecast in a few minutes. Steve.
Eric, thank you. President Joe Biden participated in a briefing today about wildfires out west. Along with the president, officials with his administration, as well as the governors of Oregon and California, were there for the briefing. The president discussed 3 major wildfires taking place in California, which have destroyed several homes and left thousands of people displaced. The White House says Vice President Kamala Harris called former President Donald Trump today to express her gratitude that he was not harmed in Sunday's apparent assassination attempt. Both Trump and Harris are in battleground states today in search of votes. The trips come as early voting is about to get started and the threat of violence hanging over the election. CBS's Skylar Henry has the latest from the White House.
Former President Donald Trump is back on the campaign trail for the first time since Sunday's apparent assassination attempt. He and vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance are blaming Democrats' rhetoric for inspiring violence.
It's time to say to the Democrats, to the media, to everybody that has been attacking this man and trying to censor this man for going on 10 years, cut it out or you're going to get somebody killed.
Speaking with members of the National Association of Black Journalists, Vice President Kamala Harris said she spoke with President Trump Tuesday morning.
I checked on him to see if he was okay.
Yeah.
And I told him what I have said publicly. There's no place for political violence in our country.
While her vice presidential pick, Governor Tim Walz, used National Voter Registration Day to make his point.
We don't solve our differences with this country with violence. We condemn it in all its forms. We solve our differences at the ballot box.
Former President Donald Trump is also focused on voter turnout while sending mixed messages about early voting. The former president posted on social media, "Early voting in Pennsylvania, go vote." But Pennsylvania's residents can only vote early via mail-in ballots, and Trump had this to say about mail-in voting just hours earlier.
Anytime you have mail-in voting, you're going to have fraud.
Challenges to recent election results have shown no evidence of widespread fraud, but threats against election workers continue to rise. The FBI confirmed to CBS News the agency is investigating a series of letters containing an unknown white powdery substance sent to election officials in several states. Skylar Henry, CBS News, the White House.
Trump also posted on social media that if he wins, he plans to go after the people that he says cheated in the 2020 election, and they will be, quote, sought out, caught, and prosecuted at levels unfortunately never seen before in our country, end quote. Florida law enforcement officials will launch their own criminal investigation into the assassination attempt on former President Trump. Governor Ron DeSantis made that announcement, adding that the state's investigation will run parallel to the federal probe. Governor DeSantis says Florida prosecutors will pursue the most serious charges available under state law. Ryan Wesley Routh, the suspect in the case, was charged with federal firearms offenses. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. will remain on the Wisconsin ballot as he continues efforts to remove himself from presidential ballots in key battleground states. A Dane County Circuit judge denied RFK Jr.'s request yesterday to erase his name off the ballot there. The judge ruled that Wisconsin law requires candidates to remain on the ballot unless they die. Kennedy filed the lawsuit in Wisconsin on September 3rd. On Capitol Hill, lawmakers are working to reduce the price of prescription drugs, specifically those related to treating obesity and diabetes. Currently, prescriptions to treat these conditions, like Ozempic, cost on average of $969 a month in America. But in Canada, you can get the same prescription for $155 and just $59 in some European countries. Senator Bernie Sanders is working to change that.
It's a fact that is not disputed. The people of the United States pay by far the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs. Overall, the best estimate is that we in America spend nearly three times what people in other countries pay.
Senator Sanders is working on an initiative to lower the cost for prescription drugs. This announcement comes after 250 physicians sent letters to Congress asking them to commit to lowering the prices of life-saving prescriptions for their patients. Senate Democrats are taking up the future of in vitro fertilization on Capitol Hill, with reproductive care already a flashpoint in the upcoming presidential election. The bill seeks to establish a nationwide right to IVF treatment and expand fertility treatments for veterans, among other things. Senate Republicans already blocked the measure when it came up for a vote back in June.
The only reason there was PB&Js for me to make this morning, and the only reason there is tiny sneakers for me to Velcro, is because after I came home from war, I had the freedom to seek the health care I needed to make my dream of going from Tammy to Mommy a reality.
Former President Donald Trump has indicated he would support IVF treatments if reelected by requiring health insurance companies to pay for fertility treatments. Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, according to a new